Hey everyone, Bri2J here with another episode of Yay Toys, and today's review is going to be on the MAFEX number 17 Batman vs Superman Batman figure. I picked this figure up the other day, and I knew I had to review him for you guys, so here we go. So, I'm really liking this figure a lot. Everything from the sculpt work to the paint detailing came out great. It looks like they did the tri-weave Kevlar body armor all the way around the figure, so that's really cool. Paint detailing, the brass tip gloves, which all the hands have that, the brass tip gauntlets, the belt, which also the sculpt work on the belt came out really great too, the brass tip boots, sculpt work again, the treads at the bottom, the face looks a lot like Ben Affleck. For the paint, good flesh tone, as well as the black wash on the face to give like the 5 o'clock shadow or soot or whatever. I know different versions of this figure vary depending on, you know, just how the factory did the paint work, but mine looks more like a 5 o'clock shadow. As for the eyes, it's not really showing up on my camera, but if I stare at the figure, it looks like they sculpted a head and then sculpted the cowl over the head to give the look of the eyes behind the mask. So that's really awesome. Let's see. The material that they use on the cape, a lot of people hate. For at least all the videos that I've watched on this figure, I'm a fan of it. I don't get why people are hating, because this is the material that they use for like umbrellas and like windbreakers and stuff. So I think if they used like another type of cloth, eventually the way they did the fray work here, strings would start undoing and it wouldn't look right over time, especially if you plan on owning this figure a long time. As for the cape, they also added bendy wire in there too to give like the flail. So that's really cool. There's one on both sides. For some reason on mine though, like I go to wrap it around them, this side seems a little shorter. Could just be the way the wire was out of the box, I don't know. But still, I'm a fan of this figure a lot. And it spreads out really far too. I mean, it doesn't stay in place. I wish they put a little bit more wire, but that's how far the cape spreads. And that looks really cool. Let's see. Height-wise, get him to stand back up a little. The thing about MAFEX is they're a little loose out of the box. I mean, you could always do the floor polish trick. It works, so I might do that. Height-wise, so he's a drop over 6 inches, which is great because if you want to have a diorama and you want to use other figures that aren't MAFEX, for example, we'll take Deadpool from the recent X-Men wave Marvel Legends. He's also a drop over 6, and they look good together. So, I know that if you take a Figure Arts figure, they're not quite in detailing, in height-wise. I mean, like, if you take Colonel Rhodes from Iron Man 3, you know, he's barely 6. So I guess from like angles it can work, but for the most part, Figure Arts are Figure Arts and MAFEX are MAFEX. So yeah, I'll get Wade out of the way here. He had his review already. Articulation, there's a lot. So, articulation, we already spoke about the cape with the bendy wire. His head goes back pretty far, and it goes down pretty far. So his head and neck are two separate joints. So his head can also turn around, and the neck can move too. So like if I kind of, like you see, it's different. So yeah, they both are on a ball peg, so they can spin all the way around. The one gripe with articulation I have with this figure, the arms don't go out all the way. That's the one gripe. But I'll explain that when I compare him to the Christian Bale Batman figures. And yes, figures, because there was a second version that came out. So arms do go all the way around though. He does have the upper bicep swivel there. Decent double jointed elbows. The wrists are on a hinge. They're like on a weird little peg system, but you do get full range there. They do swivel. He does have diaphragm joint and waist articulation. Be very careful with the waist, because you have to either put him in hot water, or I took a chance to just twist it a little bit. The articulation is there, but these figures get stuck. So just be very careful. He does have that little pull down joint on the legs for better range and kick. He can kick down okay. He kicks forward decent. Double jointed knees. He does have that MAFEX ankle pivot and hinge and a toe joint. So he does have a lot of articulation. There are some that I wish he had that he doesn't. For example, the upper boot swivel would have been nice too, as well as that better, arm range there. So Batman comes with quite a lot of accessories. He comes with the assault rifle. I don't remember this in the movie, but again, I only saw the movie one time. I might just give this to Wade or to Punisher. Haven't decided yet. He comes with the grapnel gun. Very nicely sculpted and very nicely painted. Pay close attention to those nubs there on either side of the handle. The flashbang. Very nicely sculpted also. I don't know if it's a flashbang or a smoke grenade, but either way. And then lastly, he comes with the very nicely detailed batarang. Those are it for weapons. He comes with the traditional flight stand. So it's triple articulated with a clip, and you could plug it on either of the holes there. Traditionally, you could also take this off and use this, but this Batman doesn't have a hole in his back, so if you use it, just use it with the clip. As for hands, he has a hand for everything. So aside from the traditional fists, he comes with 5 alternate pairs of hands. He comes with the peace sign, which is built for throwing the batarang. He comes with the grip for the flashbang. So it's molded and sculpted perfect so that you could just take the flashbang and do that. So then you have the hand that has what looks like the thumb up, and then that's basically to just place the batarang in there like that for a different pose. Then he also has the relaxed hands, which I'm guessing it's for when you want to, have them balance the gun. And then, like I said before, pay close attention to the little nubs at the handle, on either side of the handle of the grapnel gun, because as I was taking pictures, I saw that little groove in there. And both hands have it, and that's to keep the grapnel in place. So when you want to swap out the hand, basically just unplug the hand, and then we'll use the peace sign, batarang, throwing. So you see that little peg there, and you just take the hole and just slide it right in. Sometimes MAFEX can be tricky, but there you go. It's pretty simple. And then we'll take the batarang itself and then just slide it into the groove. And that looks really cool. So MAFEX have only been around a short period of time, and within that time frame have come out with 3 different cinematic Batman figures. This being number 1. This is the Christian Bale Batman from The Dark Knight. This was a great figure. I still display it. Primary concern, though, was that. The arms that undo for no reason. I mean, this figure's great, don't get me wrong, but that was the issue. And I know it wasn't just mine, because I've watched a lot of reviews on this figure, and all of us had the same issue. So, again, like I said, great display piece. I still pose them, and I still display them. But yeah, that was the main issue. Then, 5 figures later, they released this version of them. So this was the Dark Knight Rises figure. However, it's essentially the same figure. They just added some more paint detailing. And they added bendy wire. This was the version that had the Christian Bale head, which I think looks pretty cool. I still display this piece also, but again, the MAFEX concern. They got better, they're tighter, but they still, do that. I still display this one too. This one's displayed with my Joker and my Selina Kyle and my Batpod, which, gotta recreate scenes and stuff, right? So then, we'll move on to the Batman that we're reviewing, and here's number 17, so 10 figures later, and you got Ben Affleck Batman, and they just did so much more to this figure. The chest plate on the Bale Batman was a softer plastic. This one is a harder plastic, and that's why they don't have the arms all the way out, because they pop off, but you actually have to struggle to take the arm out. And they snap in pretty simple, Just pop it back into place, like so. So yeah, I mean, they'll both come out, but again, you have to force it, and, I do like the fact they kept the bendy wire. I do like the fact they gave a bigger cape. Just everything about this figure is great. I'm really happy with it. So yeah, I guess that's it for me. This has been Bry2J. This has been Yay Toys. And if you want some more weekly geekly, just check us out on innercitygeeks.com. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace.